everybody, I got a lot of requests on how to make these squirrel benches, or I guess picnic tables, whatever you want to call them. But I wanted to show you what I pick up over at the Home Depot or Lowe's, whatever it is. So I just pick up this is a 1x4x6, right? Very simple. And I cut these at 8.5 inches. These guys right here, these are the 1x2x6s. So I guess it's because it's 6 feet long. So 1x2s. So I cut these for the legs and also for some of the stabilizers. So I cut these at 6, and then I work on some cuts, and then I cut them at 12. So in a second, I'm going to show you how it's all done. So I just measure it out. I go 8.5. Right? I always go down lower just to make sure it's straight, just like so. All right, so I have my miter saw here, so this is what's going to help me with all my different angles that we're going to be needing for a little bit later. But for now, I'm going to just show you how I cut these woods into certain pieces. So coming closer, so as you notice, I have my marks from before. I'm going to make sure that my blade nicely touches those spots. Then I use my miter saw carefully. So now for me to make extra cuts, all I do is this. I just make sure I line it up nice and tight. I make sure that I put the saw down. I butt it up next to it so I have a nice, same, even cut. And I just have to do that one more time, just like so. And those are my 3 pieces for my bench. So let me show you how I cut the legs. So come in close. So as I come in, I'm doing the same thing how I showed you guys before. I just want to measure it at 6 inches because I told you that's how we want to make sure that's where we're at. A little bit lower just to make sure that we are bueno. So I just start with the first cut, and then check this out. As I come in, measure to make sure I'm good. We need 4 of these legs. I want the 4 nice and even. Watch your fingers. More. All right, so I'm going to show you guys how to cut those angles with those legs, because you're probably wondering, they look like they're flat, Josh. How do I cut the angle? So I'll show you. So the angle that we're going to set the miter saw to is at 22.5. So come close so I can show you how I'm going to do that. I'm just going to loosen it up, and I'm going to make sure that I slide it all the way over to 22.5. You see how I have it nice and tight, just like so. And I'm going to screw it so it doesn't get messed up. So the trickiest part here is when we do this, I just want to make sure that I start right at the corner, and then I'm going to do my first slice. So as I'm here, I make sure I measure. I'm right there on that sweet spot. Now the hardest part is where we get a little bit confused because we don't know where the other angle is. So I like to do this because I know that I'm going to be setting my feet just like so. So I will kind of try to put it up against something that's flat so I know where I'm going to put it. So it's just an easy, quick little reference that you can use for yourself. And I want to just strike a line here just so I know where I'm going to be cutting for that line. So I do the same exact thing, and I just start on this corner. So I don't need this to be perfect, but I want to make sure that my line is nice. So when I cut, now I'm set for my legs. So now it sits nice and flat, just like so. So also we want to make sure that we cut the little legs so the bench could sit right on them. So we're going to be just cutting 2 of them. So they're each going to be 12 inches. So I already cut this one already. So I'm just going to kind of go in and just cut real quick. Notice how I line it up nice and tight. I make sure that I put the blade down and I just slide the wood right next to the blade. So now I know that I'm just hitting that and I'm not making the wood shorter. So a lot of times people push this into the blade and it starts to actually starts to shave off some of the wood. So try not to do that. Make sure you stay real nice and sturdy. So as I'm here, I cut nice and easy. Again, we need 2 nice and strong. Great. So I'm going to show you how I make those nice little grooves to make that real good bench look. So I use one of my 12 lengths, the ones that are going to go across, to make sure that they sit right on top of where you would pretend that you would be sitting. I put it right here, right in the middle, just like so. And then I just trace them because it's nicely even, as you can see, how I can now just trace 1, trace 2, and I'm going to do that with every single one. Of course, my pen's not working. There it goes. And there's another one. So I'm going to do that 3 times. And one more. So this is where your saw comes in handy, your little saw, because now my circular saw, it can adjust. So I'm going to adjust where I just know that I want to be penetrating just a little bit. So I really don't know essentially where, but if I want to set it, I can pull this blade back and I can see how deep it's going to go in the wood. So I don't want it to go too deep, so I might go a little bit less than that, as you can see. So I'm going to bring it a little bit higher. Make sure you tighten it, because I made that mistake yesterday. I didn't tighten it. So now I can make these nice little cuts to make it look like there's grain in the wood. So make sure that you're nice and sturdy. Follow. Cut right on the black line. One more. So now you can see it kind of looks like we have a nice piece of wood that's our 3 different pieces. Cool. Break it. All right, so now we're going to show you how to put those legs together. It's going to be a little difficult by yourself, but if you have a helping hand, it might be a little bit easier. But I'm going to do my best right now to do it by myself. So why don't you come over on this side, and so you guys can check out how I'm going to do it. So those scrap pieces that you guys have, you're going to utilize that to make sure that your legs stay straight. So we're going to do it twice because we have 2 of these 12 pieces. So I like to make sure that when you come into this position, I kind of have them touching and I have them nice and tight against the wood. So I kind of squeeze them nice and tight just like this, and I can see how they're measuring up. Now this one, we're not going to lay it sideways. We're going to make sure that the long side is up. So we're going to put it just like so. So now this is the crucial part to make sure that you have it almost even. So you want to kind of sit right in the center. Now this is where I was telling you it gets a little tricky. So if you have a willing partner to hold on to the wood as you're doing so, I'm going to use my nail gun. It makes it much faster to do this. So check it out. As I'm in this position, I'm going to just squeeze real tight. So I'm going to squeeze the bottom piece and I'm going to squeeze the top piece to keep everything nice and sturdy. I'm going to be very careful of my fingers because I don't want to lose them. So I'm holding nice and tight. I make sure that I have my nice and tight. Let me here. Nice. So that's one. And I got to make the second one. So now, from here, once you have it, now you can just put another one in and the second one in. And then you're good to go. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. All right, great. So now that we have both of our legs, we're going to put the top table on first. So just to kind of be easy, this would be the time if you guys want to paint, this would be the time to kind of paint all your pieces together now, and then you just kind of wait for them to dry. So from here, I want to make sure that this piece of wood is on the inside, not on the outside. So I personally just think it looks better that way, but it's totally up to you. So I want to make sure they're on the inside. And now I have my top piece that I can stick right on top, just like so. I try to make my best decision on trying to keep it at least this piece of wood that we already cut, just right there. As you notice, I kind of just guesstimated and I see that it's really flat, and that's kind of how I measure how much wood or how much I want to come on the inside, because if I want to hang it on the fence, I'm going to use this piece of scrap wood. So now that I know that it's nice and flush, I'm going to hold it real tight, and then I'm going to just use my staple gun once again, my nail gun. And then one more. I like to cinch it up by just doing 2 on it so it doesn't wiggle. So I'm gonna flip it around and do it again on the other side. So as you can see, it looks like we have our picnic bench. So as you can see it, now I just nicely just rest it right next to them, and I don't have to really worry about it. I look over, I make sure they're nice and flat and make sure they're flush with all the other ones because I already know that I cut them right. But all I'm gonna do is just staple them in nice and tight with just 2 on each side. So this should be the easiest part that we've done so far. So I like to put one on the one side and one right in the middle. Then I do it on the again. Me personally, I like to try to make the screws in the same line just because I think it looks nice. Last one on this. And there you go. You have your squirrel bench. So easy enough, you should have at least some type of scrap wood. So all I'm going to do is I use a piece of scrap wood, and like I told you before, I'm going to use that piece of wood to fasten here. So first I like to put this on the fence or on a tree, whatever you like to do first. And this is a nice soft wood, so it will dig in real nicely. So I only have these 1 1/4 nails, and they look really small, but they're really not. So you can see how much they go in, but they'll sink in pretty nicely and they'll fasten to the tree or wherever you're going. Then, once I do that, this would be into the tree. Then I stick this right on top, and then I fasten just 2 right over top to make it nice and secure for your squirrel to sit on top. So other than that, that's how you fasten this to the fence. Hey everybody, thank you very much for watching the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure you press the like button down below. Also, if you just gotta have one right now, make sure you guys check out my website. I'll leave it in the link below, so check it out. And also, here's another use for your squirrel benches. All right guys, I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you very much for watching.